Back with another Savage stream. Thanks to everyone liking, sharing, subscribing, and all that cool stuff that you guys do as hopefully people who enjoy the channel. So I really appreciate it. You guys are freaking awesome and a bunch of dang rock stars over there and all that cool stuff. So I really do appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and there's been a lot of comments and stuff and keeping me busy down there, so that's also cool. It is much appreciated. I like interacting with you guys. Not the bots. I don't like interacting with bots, and bots seem to be taking over the world in a lot of different ways, and we're going to talk a little bit about one of those ways tonight. So it's pretty interesting stuff. All right, so last night we got into basically kind of an AMA. We basically just covered a few things, a few topics. We talked about the Doge Lord Savage Mind collection, you know, over there on his Bitcoin and crypto apparel site. Pretty cool stuff over there. Be sure to check that out, dogelord.com. Lots of different collections, lots of different cool stuff in there. Be sure to check that out. Really high quality stuff, guys. It's not like I'm wearing one of the shirts right now. It's nice. I mean, it's printed nice. The shirt feels great. And I'm pretty picky with stuff, so it's actually a good quality. I like it. And we talked about NFTs being a potential bubble. We actually created a NFT on the Ravencoin testnet, and we linked it to this Beeple $69 million JPEG, basically, that's stored on IPFS. And we did that in this video here that I'm showing you at Savage AMA from last night. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, be sure to check that out after this stream is over. We also talked about me potentially building a Pi hole. I don't have the actually I've got the Raspberry Pi here that I'm going to use for that. I've got another one coming for the Raven node. So I'm going to do both of those, and that was actually the other thing that we talked about. I'm going to create a Pi hole with the older Raspberry Pi, and then the newer one, I'm going to use that for the Raven node. So it should be cool. I'll probably do a video on it. I know Son of a Tech did a video on it also. I'll probably maybe we'll do it live so that we can kind of walk through the whole process or something. I don't know. We'll see how that works. We will see what is up with that. But tonight we are going to actually talk about, we kind of started it. I wanted to get into it last night, but we were going kind of long, so I wanted to cut it right there. So we're going to talk about mining pools supporting MEV, or miner extractable value. And this is kind of a new term to us in the mining community. It's kind of gained a lot of popularity because of the whole EIP 1559 thing. And you know, we were basically accused of being able to use MEV, and why are we so upset about our mining rewards being cut potentially, right, with EIP 1559. So it has basically forced us all to kind of learn a little bit more about MEV and what it's all about, and that even applies to the pools. So there's mining pools that are getting involved in it as well. But before we get going with that, I kind of want to go over and bring everybody up to speed if you're not familiar with miner extractable value and what it actually is. So let's kind of do a little recap here. It's basically it's executed by high-frequency trading bots or arbitrage trading bots, and they're trying to basically make money off of other people's trades using mempool transaction ordering techniques. That's basically what's happening. Because and the reason it's called miner extractable value, even though miners aren't the ones that use it, we are considered being the mining pools, and the pools, anybody that's writing transaction to, you know, whenever you hit a block or whenever you mine a block, which is typically a mining pool in these days. Not a lot of people are solo mining ETH, although, you know, not your normal miner does, and that's great. You know, you hit it based on, you know, your luck and all that stuff. But anyway, so it's typically not us as miners, especially on the hobby side or the home miners. We are not the ones exploiting this. We are not doing anything with MEV, but it is something that miners do, and they meaning the mining pool, and it's something that is exploitable from that aspect. So basically, you're trying to make money off of transaction ordering techniques in the mempool. And that's what's happening inside of Ethereum's mempool every millisecond of every 13-second block. That is what's happening inside the memory pool. Is basically a war going on for the transaction ordering, which is crazy. Again, this is all kind of new to the mining scene, and yeah, it's tough. So let's see here. In the mempool, I think that this is, let me refresh here. So this is what the Ethereum mempool looks like right now. There are 138,000 transactions waiting to be written to the blockchain, okay? By whoever solves the block, typically a mining pool. And this mempool here is referred to as the dark forest because basically no one gets out alive. It's a non-stop war in here for transaction ordering in order to exploit this mempool, or the arbitrage trading bots are exploiting this. Basically, it's a vulnerability at the consensus layer of Ethereum, and they get into the transaction ordering in order to make more money, basically. Basically exploit trades that are going on in there. Usually it's like a large trade, and a large trade that has a lot of slippage, meaning, you know, someone has entered a trade and they've said, okay, you know, this is the amount I want to pay, but I will go, you know, 5% up or 10% up from that. And whenever a bot can see that in the mempool, especially if it's a large transaction, then they can exploit that by increasing the price with a higher transaction, you know, on different dexes. And all this came about because of the decentralized exchanges and DeFi, and all this stuff going on has led us to this moment where this is going to be a thing for a while. I don't think that this is going away because mempool or mining pools are getting on board with it now too, which is cool for us because it'll help with potential profits and stuff. So I'm okay with it at this point. Still feel a little dirty, but because basically, here, all right. Let me just keep going with. I'm going to get off topic here. I'm not looking at the chat, so hopefully everything is okay. But okay, I'm looking at the chat for a moment. Yeah, Raspberry Pi. Yeah, I do that. Raspberry. I'm probably pronouncing it incorrectly. That's okay. I don't pronounce words very well. I don't do words well. All right, let's see here. Get back on topic here. So basically, these bots are exploiting the weaknesses and inefficiencies in these dexes, these decentralized exchanges. Like I said earlier, at the consensus layer. And the weird thing is, or the cool thing is that these bots actually run on optimized systems with really low network latency that can access the mempool fast enough to front run. That means to anticipate and exploit ordinary user transactions. And I want you to focus on that. Ordinary user transactions to and from these decentralized exchanges, bidding on the gas fees to get their transactions in the desired order, whether it's in front of or behind, depending on what the exploit is, what they're trying to accomplish with the trade. And oftentimes it basically sandwiches a user's transaction between their own to profit off of that user's trade. And again, it's usually large trades because there's no reason to really do this. If I'm sending, you know, 0.001 ETH to someone, they're not going to worry about that particular transaction. But here's the thing. This is how it affects the end user. You know, actually, I'll talk about that in a minute. But basically, arbitrage bot MEV, minor extractable value, allows the permissionless transaction reordering, inserting new transactions, or delaying transactions altogether, which is basically like censoring a user. There's just many ways to exploit this flaw, okay, in the Ethereum network. And like I said earlier, the mining pools are starting to catch on, which is kind of cool for us as miners. Again, feel kind of dirty about it. But so how does this actually affect users? Like, why should we be worried about it? And I did a video a while back kind of going over this, and I left some things out, and I still haven't remembered what I was trying to remember last night about MEV. It'll come to me just randomly one day. But in that video, at the end, I was basically saying like, look, this is a vulnerability. This is an exploitation of the Ethereum consensus layer. You and I, as Ethereum users, we want to have things be transparent so that we know what is going on inside of. We don't expect to have our transaction whenever we send ETH one way or the other, either through Uniswap, whatever, doing a trade, whatever the situation is. We don't really expect someone to be looking at that transaction, a bot or whoever, and exploiting that particular transaction. That's against us. That's causing us to pay more in fees. That's causing us a problem. The users is who this affects. So just think about that. All this talk, all this stuff about 1559 and 3368 and all that stuff, none of that solves this problem. This is the problem that should be solved. Users should be really upset about this. I mean, really upset, because what is happening in that mempool is a problem with Ethereum's consensus layer. We're being used to cause these bots to have more money, or to extract money. It's exactly like it says, extractable value. And I gave an example last night. There's one bot that started about, I think it was 2 months ago, with I think he had like $42,000 or something like that in there ready to trade with, right? And right now, at just doing MEV, the bot has something like $2.6 million or something like that. And that's only in a couple months. And, these, what was that? Flash bots, I think was the name of the Flash Boys 2.0. It's like they did an investigation into this and talked about it. They were saying that it's like $176 million, I think, of MEV for the month of January, if I'm not mistaken. I might have the numbers wrong, but just understand that it's a large amount of money, like huge amount of money, which is crazy if you think about it. And the Ethereum community, is really brutal to miners. They don't like us very much. And obviously I don't know where that started. I don't know if it was, one side. Miners can sometimes come across as like, you owe us, and I don't do that. I think that we, all need to work together and all that stuff. I don't get into the little spats or anything, but in my experience, especially recently with the whole 1559 thing, man, the hate has really been coming from the Ethereum community, just the users and stuff like that. And it's almost like a diversion, because this is what the users should really be upset about, because this is what's driving transaction fees higher. It's not miners. They blame miners for the high transaction fees, and that's not true. That is not true. We don't have anything to do with the fees. The users pay the fees. We don't have anything to do with it, unless we're using the network and paying those higher fees. Okay, great. But that's not our fault as miners. And somehow it gets misinterpreted or misdirected. That anger gets misdirected at miners as being the people to blame for the high fees. And it's like, listen guys, this is something that is in Ethereum that is causing these high fees. It's an exploit. It's something that's being exploited, and you're the one paying for it. You're the one paying the high fees for that. So hopefully that makes sense. I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but hopefully it makes sense that there's some misdirected anger here towards the miners. This is the problem right here. And I said that at the end of that other video. This is the real problem that should be addressed. But maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't think it will, because there's not an incentive to do so, I guess, at this time. I don't know. But anyway, I get tired of miners catching all this hate whenever it's not our fault. So anyway, just want to kind of get that out there. So, MEV basically affects users. It can actually censor users also, because if you aren't paying enough for your transaction, then your transaction could get pushed out of that block and into the next block, right? You saw the mempool was 138,000 transactions or something like that. And, you submit a transaction with the right amount of fees to be included in the next block, but because of that MEV and those bots jacking up the prices of the transactions in there and reordering everything, then your transaction might fall out of the mempool, not fall out of the mempool, but get pushed to the next block. And that's unfortunate side effect of MEV being exploited on Ethereum, and you're the one that gets affected because now you're censored. Basically, your transaction doesn't go through like it's supposed to. We've all seen this, you know, we've all witnessed it, and probably experienced it. I know I have. So, and then it also jacks up the transaction fees, like I said before, because that's what the bot does. Is it sees a transaction, a large transaction. There's a certain fee attached to that. Miners typically miners at mining pools, whoever's doing the actually writing the block to the blockchain, normally will order the transactions in highest fee first, right? So the highest fee is at the top. So these bots look at that and they'll jack up their gas price so that their transaction goes in front of the one that they're trying to exploit. And that's kind of like a simple explanation, but that's basically what's happening. And then if that transaction, the large transaction, again, they focus on large transactions because that's where the money's at, right? Because, you know, my little 0.001 ETH isn't going to make them very much. But if that large transaction has a lot of slippage, then it can pull that slippage up. You know, if they put in their 10% or whatever, they are basically causing more slippage so that trade is paying more for some of the tokens that they're purchasing, whatever it is, whatever the trade is. So it actually causes them to pay more, and they are getting less quantity of tokens for the same price, right? For that price. So they're getting less for paying more, is the kind of a simple way to look at slippage. They're basically paying more than they expected to pay, and they're getting less. And you might have actually experienced this. I know I have. You know, and I'm not a trader, so I don't know how all this stuff works like on the exchanges, but you know, you put in an order to buy whatever crypto, whatever project, and you know, you think based on in your mind, just real quick math of how many you're supposed to get, and you end up getting a lot less, not a lot less, but you know, a percentage less, 2%, 3%, whatever, less of the actual tokens that you're purchasing. I know I've experienced that, but this is on a much larger scale. Obviously, you have much larger transactions. Anyway, I am way off track. Let me check the chat. Make sure that y'all aren't yelling at me over here. Everybody's good. What's up, everybody? Yeah, everybody looks good. All right. So long story short, to get to the point here, I know I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but there are some pools, some mining pools that are going to start. Actually, I don't know if they're doing it internal or if they're using if they're outsourcing the bot, but they're going to start basically exploiting this in some way and gaining some value out of MEV, pulling some value out of the blocks for these transactions that they get to write to the blockchain, or the blocks that they get to write to the blockchain. So, and then they're going to take those rewards and distribute them to miners. Now, I don't know all the details. I don't know how this is going to work, what the percentages are, and whether or not it's all of it or just a small percentage or whatever, but EtherMine is one of them. Now, this is hilarious to me. This is kind of funny. So, all right. So EtherMine was the pool that all of us miners were going to point our Ethereum eCash hash power at on April 1st, you know, in response to 1559 and all that stuff. Okay, all that's been squashed. We're not going to do that. But now we have EtherMine saying, hey guys, go ahead, go ahead and bring me your hash power because we're going to be using MEV and your profits are going to possibly be more on our pool, right? And this is going to push a lot of pools. I think it'll push a lot of pools to implement this, because if the profits are a lot more on EtherMine, for example, because of MEV, then why would anybody mine on anything else? So what do you think that this could do? this could, if Ethermine, I know that FlexPool is doing it also, but we'll just stick to Ethermine, the whole 1559 April 1st thing. So now you've got a situation where they're implementing MEV, which was an argument that the developers were making against the miners as us using MEV in response to opposition of 1559. And now Ethermine is saying that they're going to use MEV. So go ahead and and everybody lost their mind, because we were going to point our hash power at Ethermine. Anyway, so I thought that was kind of, it's like, full circle kind of thing here, that we're coming all the way back around to everybody going to Ethermine anyway, right? Potentially. So I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, so I don't know how this is going to work in the end, but it is going to make other pools will have to get on board with this. They'll have to. I don't know how, obviously, there's different situations with the number of miners. I get all that. Fully on board with that. But if they are implementing it, then the potential exists for their rewards for mining to be higher than other people. It's like it's almost like an offset of, you have like your luck factor and all that stuff with the pools, and it basically over time it works out pretty evenly to where it really doesn't matter too much how much which pool you use, except for like fees and all those other factors. But what I'm getting at is this could be like a deciding factor, because it could make things a whole lot different between the pools. It's like a I'm not gonna remember the word, but it is a yeah, I'm not gonna remember the word. It's a factor that people are gonna look at when deciding which pool to point their hash power at. I think that's the easiest way to say it. Okay, so Ethermine is one of them, and then you also have FlexPool. And well, let me look at the tweet for Ethermine. This is what what they said here. So this was what they just yesterday. So announcing Ethermine MEV beta, party time in order to compensate the upcoming mining reward reduction caused by the adoption of EIP 1559. And remember that Ethermine was against 1559, which is why we were going to use them to point our hash power towards anyway. So we have launched our MEV beta program. 80%. Okay, so there's the number. I didn't see that earlier. So 80% goes to mining block rewards, and then down here it talks about 5% will go to support the ecosystem via Gitcoin grants. So it looks like they are outsourcing the bot, and that's what that's for. And 1 to 10%. Yeah, it says that they expect it to go 1 to 10% higher for mining rewards. So that could be the deciding factor for where you point your hash power to. So I thought that was pretty cool. And FlexPool is another one, and I wanted to point this out. There's a user on my Discord, Undying, over there. He pointed this out to me, that FlexPool actually exploited MEV right here. You can see this one transaction, or this one block, that was 12.75 ETH. And since they mined it on the pool here, then they were able to, hopefully, I don't know how it worked as far as distributing those rewards, but they did implement MEV here. So FlexPool is another pool that's going to be using this capability as well. Or I'll keep calling it an exploit, because that's what it is. Yeah. All right. Let me check the chat. You guys can ask questions or anything like that over there. What's up, Yashnik? You can be my vice president, sir. Yeah, 15 Street Rebel. Yeah, 1559 does not do anything with fees, and it's such a misconception. It is such a misconception. You see it in the Ethereum community, and you know what? Here's another thing. I'll say this too. The Ethereum devs should be straightening out their community, because right now you've got the devs, the community, the Ethereum community, and the miners, and these two are against the miners. And the ones in the middle, the users, the Ethereum community, so to speak, those are the ones that are attacking the miners with all this false information, right? They're blaming us for high fees and all this stuff. Transaction numbers, click on it. The miner, or man, you got me off of a rant. I was about to go off, Max. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to get back into that. I'm gonna lose my train of thought, and I already have. What was I talking about? Oh, the community and all that. So the devs really should, and I don't know if they are. I don't see it, right? I'm not always in that mode of what's going on in the community, always on Twitter and stuff. I'm not. So I don't know if they are kind of straightening out their users, but I don't see a lot of replies from like the devs or anybody in that community like straightening out their users, like, no guys, you know, that's not how this works, you know, and explaining it to them. Because here's what happens: those Ethereum users, the community, attacks the miners. The miners kind of come back with, and what I saw was a lot of really calm demeanor, a lot of calm responses, very rational, simple things. Like I was doing it, I was saying, yeah, but 1559 doesn't lower fees, and that would be all I would say, right? So you had this vitriol, man, this real anger coming from the Ethereum community towards the miners, and we were being all sensible and everything, most of us, I think, in the responses. Not all of us, but most of us. And I really think that the devs need to do the replying and like kind of guide them and guide the Ethereum community as a whole in the right direction, because just from what I see, it just makes sense to me that that's the way it should happen, but it doesn't, because I kind of view us as, you know, a pie piece. If we were to look at a pie piece of the Ethereum ecosystem, then miners are 1/3, users are 1/3, and the devs are 1/3. That's kind of the way I look at it. A very just general, you know, generally looking at it from a 50,000 foot view. I mean, we're all in this together, and I think that actually Ethermind actually put that in their tweet. Like, look, we're all in this together. So, you know, let's do the right thing here for the community. I don't know. That's just the way I see it. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, diverting fault, exactly. And it was not good. It's actually it actually kind of upset me quite a few days, and it might have led to why I wasn't streaming so much last week, because it bothers me when people I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be that way, but you try to do good, and then even if you do really good stuff, you know, people still are against you for reasons that are faulty, like, you know, false information. And that kind of bugs me whenever things like that happen, you know. All right, anyway. Click on the number on the far left. Oh, the block. Okay. Got it. And then click on the number on the far left, take you to the block in Etherscan showing what the normal reward would have been without MEV. All right, so let's check this out here. So the block reward, yeah, I actually had this up the other day. I was looking at this. So without it, it would have been 2. Is that what you're saying there? So 2 without it, but we kind of knew that. We know that the block reward is 2. So this one did not have MEV. Yeah, and this is cool because you see like mine by, and it has flexible over there. That's cool. Yeah, cool stuff. The first transaction on page 13. This? No, that's the miner. Yeah, exactly, Street Rebel. It was in that meeting about 1559, and they mentioned it, and everybody looked at each other like, "What? What is he talking about?" All right, Max. Yeah, do that. Yeah, explain like how you can. I actually asked Undying in my in my Discord how you could tell, and I just need to be shown one time, I guess. All right. You're saying at the top of the page, like this one right here. I don't know why you would click on that one whenever this is the one. This is the block that has the extra ETH in it. Maybe like this. That's just the miner. That's going to show the miner stuff. All right, yeah, do a stream and show us what you're talking about. I mean, I see the percentage here of the block share and all that, but and this is probably the one that added MEV. Yeah, you can break it down for us. Appreciate that, Max. So everybody can head over to Max Voltage's stream right after this. I'm going to get off of here in just a minute. If nobody has any questions or comments or anything like that, kind of looking to see if any. What's up, Dan the Dane? Seeing if anybody tagged me or anything. Not too much here. All right, you guys are just chatting with each other. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, so everybody head over to Max Voltages, do a savage raid over there. I don't know if this is going to come up, is it? There he is. So everybody that's in here now, head over there and he'll do a quick stream on MEV, like how to look at a transaction and figure out, or how to look at a block and figure out if there were MEV transactions in there, or if MEV was exploited on that particular block. Sounds like a winner. We also need to get over here to, there's this Reddit post for 3368, and it looks like it was getting downvoted. Like there's more against than for. And I don't know if like the devs or anything like that is going to look at this, but this meeting I think is tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, right, Max? So we need to head over there. Oh, that's never going to work. Long. Oh, maybe. Let's see if it'll work. Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to click on that one or not, but yeah, just look up Reddit. It's under our Ethereum comments, and it talks about EIP 3368. This is the one that Bitsby Trippin proposed. It's alongside of 1559, and this is the one that increases the block reward temporarily to 3 ETH per block. And at first it was like a 0.25 decrease per quarter, but I think that they made it like every block. So there's like a very small percentage every block that it decreases over time, over like 2 years or whatever. So that's what we need to get over here and upvote that if you're for it. And I'm okay with it. Honestly, you know, if you were to ask me honestly, I think that a lot of this is probably going to be overblown, and it's probably not going to matter. I think that Ethereum value is going to go up enough to compensate for the block reward not changing or changing. It doesn't matter. I don't know. It's out of my hands. But I can say that I'm for 3368. I think it's a cool idea. I'm not confident that it would be accepted, but you know, it is what it is. That's just my opinion. Just my opinion. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I will see you over in Max Voltage's stream. And you guys are awesome for letting me hang out and talk some crypto. And if you thought that this was interesting or educational or entertaining in any way whatsoever, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys tomorrow night. Tomorrow is Crypto Fireball Friday. Probably won't be drinking. I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm not doing that anymore. So no more drinking, but we will talk some crypto. and probably maybe like an AMA kind of thing, but I'll most likely be firing up maybe the Pi-hole situation there on the Raspberry Pi. And yeah, I'll see you guys over in Max Voltage's stream. Stay savage, everybody.